So, I want you to, if you've got a Bible, I'm going to put it on the screen, but follow me here, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. This is what he says. I fought the good fight, I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now, what does that sound like? Hopefully you realise that Paul is saying to Timothy, here I am, I'm awaiting my appearance before Caesar in Rome. I know I'm going to die. I know it. I know I'm going to die. And it's interesting how your whole disposition and outlook on life changes when you become at peace with that. And Paul certainly was, and he describes being at peace with this very notion. And here's my question: how the heck do you get to that place in life? How could Paul claim that he'd finished his race and run it well? How could he do that? So notice this, down in verse 23 of Colossians chapter 1, Paul says this, and I'm telling you this because I think this is partly why Paul had an incredible peace, that he was prepared to die because he would have felt he'd fulfilled his mission that Christ had given him. He says this, if indeed you continue in the faith, stable and steadfast, not shifting from the hope of the gospel that you heard, which has been proclaimed in all creation under heaven, of which I, Paul, became a minister. Now, you may read that and just skim through because it's late at night and you're doing your daily readings last thing at night, and you just sort of get to that last verse of Colossians chapter 1 and go, oh, cool, oh, that's done. Without realising what is actually the profound thing that he's just said. This gospel has now been preached to every creature under heaven. That's a profound statement. What he's saying is every Jew in the world has now had an opportunity to hear the gospel. And while it might be too easy to think, and they all rejected it, they didn't. And we know from the book of Acts they didn't. We know from the epistles they didn't. Many of them received. And just like today, the gospel goes out. And for some reason, people have hearts that are hard and they just don't receive it. Like me. First 15 years of my life, I was dull. I just heard it Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, and it didn't get in because my heart was hard. And then God did something in my heart and I got it. I got it. And I went on after high school, I worked for Kmart. And I remember being in the storeroom at Kmart. I worked in about 4 different stores of Kmart around Victoria. And we have in the storeroom in those days a belt that goes up and you put the box on. And if that box doesn't want to go up, tough. It's going up. And I remember looking at that thinking, God, help me to be like this box. I want to step into your will. And whether I feel like it or not, I just want you to help me to do it. Just help me to fulfill. And that was how much my heart had changed. And even now I pray that prayer, God, help me to do your will. And here's Paul saying, I've done it. I've done everything you've asked me to do. It's amazing. So this, I think, gives Paul the basis to be able to say, I've run my race.